Iranian here with a message for everyone in Israel and the IDF. Thank you.
You're happy that America bombed your country, Iran?
Of course we are happy. I am thank you for the US and for Israel.
If you watched mainstream media news coverage of the US-Israeli war on Iran, you would think that all Iranians supported and celebrated the bombing of their own country. So why are there so many Iranians who support this war? And why aren't we seeing or hearing from the Iranians who oppose it?
There is a huge erasure of Iranian voices that can stand both against the government and at the same time say, but that doesn't justify bombing of Iranian people.
In the 1950s, the US and the UK helped overthrow Iran's democratically elected leader, because he wanted to nationalize Iran's oil supply. They installed a pro-Western dictator to rule instead, a monarch named Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, also known as the Shah.
Mohammad Reza Pahlavi.
Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi.
Mohammad Reza Pahlavi.
America gave us generous and valuable financial and military assistance.
Though he was celebrated in the West for modernizing and secularizing Iran, his rule was authoritarian, characterized by foreign influence, corruption, and harsh crackdown on dissent. He relied on US support to stay in power for 26 years before Iranians overthrew him in the 1979 revolution. When he was overthrown, the Shah and his supporters fled into exile, taking their wealth with them. Today, these Shah supporters, also known as monarchists or Pahlavists, mostly live in the diaspora.
Someone who is a monarchist in the Iranian diaspora is someone who supports Reza Pahlavi to bring back this idea of the Pahlavi monarchy to Iran. This is frustrating on many grounds, given that Iran is one of the first countries to have a constitutional revolution hundreds of years ago, and the idea that the only way forward for a future of Iran that is pluralistic and space for everybody is a return to a overthrown monarch.
For this segment of the diaspora, war, destruction, and the killing of their own people is a price they're willing to pay for the fall of the Islamic regime and the reinstitution of the Shah.
There was also the 150 school girls that were killed. I mean, ultimately, you see this as worth it. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
100%. 100% is worth it, yes.
Why would you want America to bomb your country?
Oh my gosh, because we tried and we tried over and over. We just couldn't do it ourselves.
Many of them also happen to be Zionists and support Israel's efforts to free Iran from the Islamic regime.
Pahlavi, since his exile and since his father's exile, I think has built a lot of close relationships with Israel as a means and method for him to restore his alleged throne in Iran. And so there has been sort of like this coalescing around Pahlavi by both the United States and Israel to support this idea of him as this alternative to the Islamic Republic. Pahlavi has actually been invited to Israel as like the Iranian spokesperson, and I think see each other as sort of a mutual relationship in order to give Pahlavi this throne that is not his and is not Israel's to give. And instead, Israel will benefit from a very strong Iranian ally in the region to build that sort of relationship with.
And those specific political interests are why we are hearing so much from this particular diasporic group.
By and large, the responses from Iranians that I've spoken to has been overwhelmingly in favor of the United States and Israeli action on the ground.
A lot of people in Tehran, in Iran, actually don't necessarily want the bombs to stop dropping.
And not from Iranians who, for example, oppose the war but support the Islamic regime, or oppose the regime and also oppose the US-Israeli war.
In this war, you don't have the third option. You either have to fight with them or you have to be their slave. We choose not to be a slave. And that's why the struggle of Iranians, Palestinian, Lebanese, Syrians, we are all connected. I was living in Europe. I came in the second day of war just to say that I'm here, I'm in my country, it's our land, and here will be your grave. Here will be the grave of anyone who has the plan of Big Israel.
All of these groups exist, by the way, but we in the West are disproportionately hearing from one of them. And that's obviously because Iranians who are anti-US and Israeli imperialism don't fit the US mainstream narrative, and they certainly don't fit the media's agenda, a media that has a habit for manufacturing public consent for America's wars in the Middle East. So next time you watch the news, remember, Iranians are not a monolith, and they certainly all don't support the bombing and destruction of their own country.
When you're cheering for bombs, what are you planning on returning to? There's no more infrastructure to return to. There's no more greenery to return to. There are videos coming out where the waterways in Iran, where oil was spilled after Israel bombed Tehran's oil depot, are on fire. It looks like a scene out of an apocalyptic movie. What land is that to return to? I think that there is a possibility to say no to Pahlavi, no to foreign intervention, and no to the current government. And that means supporting Iranians on the ground in their own grassroots struggle against the state. And that looks like being able to actually have faith and hope and optimism. And I think we must have a type of radical hope and optimism in the people of Iran to have a revolution and have a systems change that are within their own hands.